Welcome in, guys. Not a whole lot to be excited about today, but we're going to stay faithful to our viewers and do our best to wrap our heads around this one and see where we go from here. So let's not waste any time. Sammy, start me up. Now. Now. You're like Vrabel. I can't get anything out of you. Now, Sammy, now. Start me up. It'll happen any second now. We'll have a nice little gag reel to put in here.
As a nice little introduction. Well, if we're not gonna do it, we're not gonna do the intro. And the intro decides to pop up. Let's talk about the game. So obviously it was abysmal. I mean, I can't even work myself up anymore. I know, how you get frustrated as well. Sometimes I get frustrated with this team. But at what point? We've been seeing the product now for 16, 17 games now, 3-13 in the last 16. At what point do you continue to get frustrated and you want change? Obviously, you're off the Vrabel train. I've lit the fire under the seat, and it's getting really hot in my opinion. Like you said, we talked about before the show. We need an identity change. Who knows what that is? Since Jim Schwartz left, the defense has looked like hot garbage. So I don't know how much of an influence or how much he had his hand in that defense, because Shane Bowen looks absolutely lost. The pass rush was a little bit there, but besides our defensive line, we have nobody behind the defensive line. The linebackers are terrible, and the corners and safeties are terrible. So right then and there, we need to hold identity is what you're talking about. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, I loved Will Levis coming in for the last 3 games. You can't put the blame all on him today. It's the line that's in front of him. We're going to get this kid killed before we even see what his full potential is in the full season right now. So, I mean, today is just abysmal. The play calling, like you said, the field goal, going for it, kicking a field goal with 13 minutes left into the game. Why do that? We're down. Go for it. What do we have to lose? We're not winning the division. We're not getting the playoffs. See what this kid has. See what the offensive has. But other than that, the playmakers around them, this team is just hot garbage all around. All around. So, I mean, I'm sick and tired of it. I sit on a couch. I used to be able, throw water bottles all over the place. I can't do it no more because we know what to expect now going forward. So, yeah. I mean, what do you guys think on YouTube and Twitter? Hit us up with some questions. Obviously, we're live, so shoot.
Yeah, obviously, anyone who follows me on any of the social media platforms knows I've been out on Vrabel for a while now. I think he's way over his head, as overrated as it gets. I continually got to tell people that, it's not about the bullshit with Levis and the game ball after the Falcon game, although that's what everybody wants to keep hanging their hat on. Like, that's the only thing I've been talking about. When I've had my fucking, I've had this guy's head on a platter for the last, 10 months. So it's ridiculous, but I don't let it get to me because at the end of the day, I'm true to myself. I say the things I say. I mean the things that I say. This guy's a joke. That's all there is to it. They're all a joke. Everyone in the staff, honestly. Tim Kelly's a joke.
Oh.
Shane Bowen is a joke. They're all a joke. And everything they have in common is that this guy went to bat for him. And this guy wanted them to have the position they have. Well, it's time for Rand Carthon to put on his big boy shoes, talk to Amy, and get rid of fucking all of them. All of them. Even if you're on the fence about one guy, what's the point of keeping him? Just clean house, get everyone new. Nobody's doing their job correctly with a headset on. So there's no point of keeping any of them. You got a new general manager. He's got his quarterback. Now he needs his head coach. Now he needs all his staff that he picked out in order for this to be his team. It can't be Rand Carthon's team until all his pieces are in place. And a lot of these guys with headsets on are not his pieces. And it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit that we as fans had to clamor to get Todd Downing out of his position when he was the worst play caller in professional sports. Forget about football. And now we're dealing with an offensive line that's arguably worse than last year. And we're just going to keep making excuses for Miek Vrabel. Oh, the injuries. Oh, this, that. Quarterback. Enough. It's over. Nobody's good on this team with the exception of maybe like 5 players. They're all mediocre to average at best. And it's just a joke. Chiga Conquo is a fucking joke.
Drops all every single game he's got. Yep. Offensive line too. We're surrounded by shop break guys. Like I'm going to refer last year. shot break guys on the offensive line. Hubbard is a journeyman. Raduns comes in. He 2 false starts. He was getting picked apart all day. The only one that's really good on that offensive line is Skoronski, and we can't even put him at his natural position right now. Shout out to your dad walking in the background. I see that over there. But Tank Sinatra over here firing away on the YouTube over here. He said, love you guys. Need some positivity right now. How can we have so much positivity with this team every single week?
I'll tell you where the positivity is coming from.
Well, the only positive.
But go ahead.
No. What's the positive on this team right now? Seriously, I'm asking every single person in the chat, you, anybody, all Titan fans. What is the positivity about this team? Where's the positive besides Will Levis? Because we're gonna get him killed right now.
It's Amy Adams. Amy Adams is not going to stand for this. Don't forget, she had Mike Mularkey fired after a season in which he won a road playoff game. This is much, much worse than that situation, and it's only going to head into a worse situation. So I have full faith in her and him. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility now that Vrabel's fired during the season. I genuinely don't. He's lost everyone on this team. The only thing, Vinny, of course, busted my balls about the going 6-3 comment. Well, I'm going to jokingly bite back at him and say, well, I don't think Miek Vrabel's getting hired in 10 minutes now if he gets fired, okay? If it ain't New England, I don't know what team's going to go bend over backwards for a guy that's gone, 13 of his last 16 now as a head coach. Loss. It's an embarrassment. It's a joke. He stands there with his hands on his knees every fucking game. He makes bad decision after bad decision as far as play calling, player selection. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And anybody who defends him, it's okay. That's fine. You're not a bad fan for defending him, but you're an idiot for saying that anyone who isn't going to defend him is wrong for doing so. That I will say with all certainty. So. I have faith. I do. I have a faith in the two of them that they'll come together and say, okay, at least Amy will be like, jig's up now. I got rid of the general manager. Okay. We all thought, okay, that was the problem. All his draft picks, all this, that, and the other thing. I brought in a new guy who got us a quarterback. He got us our running back of the future. He got some pieces here and there. Nothing perfect, but he's doing a good start. Now the coach has got to put up his end of the bargain, and he ain't doing it. So now it should be him next to go.
The funny part about that is Vrabel has a really good record coming off a bye. Okay, now we weren't technically on a bye, but we were on like a little a longer like a 10-day whatever. And to come out piss poor like that against a good Bucs team is just astounding to me.
They're not good. The Bucs are not a good team.
No, they're not a good team. We're even worse though. And we got comments on here that's saying like Levis looks worse than Tannehill over the hill. That's impossible to say.
They're idiots.
It's impossible
with all due respect.
It's impossible to say that because we have a shit offensive line, and I was ragging. I was a huge Tannehill supporter from the beginning of the year, and I knew it was the offensive line the whole time, but roll the pocket. I made a comment on Twitter earlier. All of our quarterbacks don't extend plays. Either step up, step away, roll the pocket, get the pocket move instead of standing there and getting pressured. Yeah. Will Levis is now the highest quarterback being pressured in his last 3 starts.
He has no opportunity to roll out.
No, but they got to move it, dude. They have to move it because that makeshift offensive line, he's going to get killed. And he took some shots late in that game.
A lot of shots. He got hurried 20 out of his 35 drives. He was pressured. Yep. I mean, I was saying during the game, you love doing multiple tight end sets. Well, have him roll out to the right and bunch up some damn fucking tight ends to that right side and give him some extra help. Like, it's literally your job as an offensive coordinator to figure out what the problems are and work around them. And instead, this guy is just not giving a shit about what any of the issues are with this offense and continuing to run Derrick Henry down the middle on a 2nd and 9 for fucking no gain. Again, Vrabel conceding drives, fourth. It never ends. It never ends. And bad teams find a way to lose, and bad teams find a way to continue to be bad.
Yep.
And I don't understand how we can sit here and say our head coach is good when we just continue to lose, nothing changes, and we still continue to have these fucking schmoes that have been in the organization for the last 10 years as these coordinators. Like, it's not black and white. There's no gray area here. It's
there needs to be a
dry.
there needs to be a revamp, and we got a question here from Mark Rodriguez. Says, real question: is losing not the best case? We're not winning the Super Bowl, so I'd rather have a draft capital than finish 7-10 and have a mid-first round pick. Although I would like to at least that, whatever. But I agree with him. I mean,
at this point, yeah.
Losing is the best case scenario at this time right now. I mean, it's sad to say because we're all diehard fans. So we want to lose. No, but the season, you're not making the playoffs with 6 losses. As of now, you're not doing it. Okay. No. So what's the next? Is Tank available? That's what we're at right now. I mean, we're not winning with this offensive line. Obviously, you saw that with the mid-Bucs 3-5 team. They just hounded us on the offensive line. Crazy. But I always said I'm looking forward now to the end of the season with the draft and everything like that, just because we have that $100 million next year. So we can build around this team because we know we have the quarterback as of now. So, I mean, we need to protect him. We need weapons, and we clearly don't have that right now on this team. And the defense need a revamp because there's no one scaring anybody besides Jeffrey Simmons, Tierra Tart, and Danico Autry. Because
nobody's scaring anyone right now, Jared.
That's the best we have on defense. Other than that, those guys are – that's it. That's what I'm trying to say.
They're not doing enough either.
Yeah, because they have nobody behind them. And trading Kevin
Jarrett, we're not getting any pressure. We're not getting nearly enough pressure. And at some point, obviously, Jeffrey Simmons is the best defensive player we have. I'm not going to be a lunatic and say otherwise, okay? But, we need more. We need more out of this front, man. This front isn't doing enough. And forget about the secondary isn't great. Don't get me wrong. But we got to stop making excuses for the pass rush. It's not just the corners that are not allowing them to get pressure. It's just not. Maybe it's scheme because, like I said, I think Bowen's a complete freaking asshole too now.
That's what I'm saying. Was Schwartz really the one with the hand in it? Of course. Now we see it. We see it.
Obviously. Yep. So it is what it is at this point. As much as I can never root for it to happen, of course it makes. If we can lose another 6 games and get Marvin Harrison Jr. somehow, and then spend half that money on offensive line or use a second rounder on the offensive line, and then hell yeah, of course. I'm not going to be able to sit here on Sundays and hope for Will Levis to fail. I'll never be able to do it. But in the grand scheme of things, now that the wheels are officially off, of course it makes sense. We need receivers in the worst way. Yeah, to get T. Higgins in free agency, get Marvin Harrison Jr. Then you'll have fucking Shig as some throw-in guy that is a fourth stringer. It would be a pretty good 4th option. You know what I mean? So
look at this.
I'm in the Uber on the way to a bar to watch the 4:00 games. I wanted to pop on for a second. I witnessed it firsthand. We need to fire Vrabel ASAP. We need to hope that Will Levis makes it through the season because this kid's going to get fucking killed. We need to do – I've said it time and time again. Our first priority going forward is do everything right by this kid. Protect him, surround him with talent, good, young, offensive-minded coaches, and that's that. Because other than that, there's nothing really to, get excited about. We got it right with him, thank God. Now we need to do everything right by him going forward.
We needed the Stone Cold Steve Austin intro when you came in, like to break the glass or something.
I know. I wanted to surprise you too.
Chilling in the backseat of an Uber with the shades on, going in paradise right now.
Yeah, dude, it might have been one of the hottest football games I've ever been to in my life. Yeah, but it was. And you know what the frustrating part is? That first drive, we put together a nice drive. You know what I mean?
Scripted.
And then where was it the rest of the game? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I'm done with Vrabel. This all like Sal said, I watch his post game. Fire everybody. I don't give a fuck. Start over. You have a quarterback. Now do everything you can to do right by this kid. End of story.
And the worst part is that we should have known with Tim Kelly. He was brought in to be like a right-hand man for Downing, someone that he could talk to, and they could, they were supposed to work together, and nothing went right with Todd Downing as the number 1, and now we thought this guy was just going to come in and make things right. I mean, he's way over his head. It's just pathetic. There's no creativity. Pass rush doesn't exist. Every decision Vrabel makes winds up to be wrong. And then the worst thing about it is that we just got to watch him be emotionless on the podium every week. It's just like it can't get any worse. It can't get any worse. And I got to be honest, I don't even know. And I completely agree with you at first, Vin, but I don't even know now. Other than New England, I don't know who else would want Mike Vrabel as head coach. I really don't know. I mean, his claim to fame as a coach is supposed to be how he motivated his men, and this team could not look less motivated on either side of the football.
So Tic Tac Titans, I retweeted what he said, and I thought he brought up a good point. Vrabel could be a good coach for a team that's ready to compete. I don't know if his forte is building a young team and making it successful. I think a team that's ready to win now, he could be that piece to put them over the edge. I just think he's uninterested now. He wants nothing to do with this rebuilding team, and it shows every week now in the press conferences.
Well,
and listen, he'll get another job. He was part of the turnaround here. We'll see what he could do at the next team he's at, but he'll get another job. But this is not the right situation for him. The highlight of the day for me was meeting Tajay Spears' father. Nice gentleman. He was wearing his jersey. He had a field pass, so I approached him and said, "Are you his family?" He said, "Yeah, that's my son." I said, "Oh, me and my buddies were big fans of your boy. He's a great ball player." But other than that, the day sucked.
Yeah, well, obviously, you didn't see that your team scored a single touchdown. It's kind of like I did in Buffalo. But
you want to hit that question, Sal?
Yeah, I will really quickly. I mean, with this offensive line, you can't say Henry's not invested. He's arguably never gotten run blocking his whole career in Tennessee. So to say he's not invested, I think is a little much. Is he as shifty and powerful off the line of scrimmage as he used to be? No. But, I mean, at the end of the day, is an extension out of the window. It's going to come down to how much money he wants. If he'll take a $7 million a year contract, sure, I'll bring him back for a couple more years. But the bottom line is the offensive line is abysmal. And until that gets fixed, it's not going to matter who's the running back. It's not going to matter who the quarterback is. It's just going to be like what we saw today by a very bad team. A bad defense just embarrassed our offense. Yeah. And yet I got to hear people tell me that I'm an idiot for wanting Mike Vrabel's head. It's just it doesn't make any sense, and I got to stop letting it get to me because these people are just very uneducated, and I need to just deal with it like we all do. We're all fans at the end of the day, but really, really sad day, sad, poor day for this team. And I don't know where to go.
I know you guys aren't watching the YouTube. I got the YouTube on. Sammy's throwing up questions over here, but there's two names that keep popping up on the feed from a lot of you guys on here, and it's obviously fire Vrabel. Everyone's off the Vrabel train, and everyone's saying get Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator from the Lions, who obviously that is a potent offense over there. See, there it is.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's a potent offense over there.
Ben Johnson from the Lions. People are saying go for it. I mean, it's easy to say that.
Of course it is.
That scores well.
Yeah.
Let's go get their offensive coordinator. But that doesn't mean it translates into a good head coach.
Exactly.
Do I think
that's a Josh McDaniels thing too.
Yeah. Do I think anything would be an upgrade at this point? Of course, because when you're conceding drives in key moments in a primetime game, can't really get any worse than that, like we saw last Thursday night. But it is what it is. We have to just hope that Levis doesn't die. And honestly, as much as it sucks, we got to try to lose. We got to try to lose some games now because we got an opportunity. Yeah.
But at this point, I mean, we're going to get into it a lot. I mean, this is the post game, but just to touch on what you just said with that Marvin Harrison Jr., we need a guy like that bad. We also need a guy like Joe Alt bad too. Yeah. And there's not a lot of good offensive linemen out there in free agency. We have the $100 million. So do we pick and plug a young left tackle in the draft and go that? Because there's not that many sexy wide receivers and tight ends in free agency either. So we really got to hit this offseason with the money and with the very limited draft capital that we have this year too. Because I think we only have 5 picks, and all the rest of them are in the later rounds. A first, a second,
why are we
a fourth.
Still not putting Skoronski at left tackle? I don't understand it. What is the point? If it's going to be a shit show anyway, at least get your top 10 pick playing the position you played in college.
I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense. Like I understand when you're behind the 8 ball with everyone else on the offensive line, you got to.
The only thing, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like since I'm on it, it's going to come in my head. The only reason I think that they want him at left guard is because obviously it's a versatile position, and the rest of those guys can't pull like Skoronski. When Skoronski pulls and he's a lead block, he's opening up holes. But then again,
but nobody's doing anything right now.
Well, we lose that because when we're trying to pass, it's coming off the edge with the turnstiles that we've had the last 2 seasons. So I mean, I get your point. I would love Skoronski over there just to see what happens. So I don't know. I'm at a loss for words with you guys too. I mean, it's very frustrating to see this now. Like I said, I can't even sit there and I sit there emotionless watching the game. My wife is like, I expect this now. I expect what's happening right now because we have a shit roster that needs to be rebuilt.
Well, the good news is this. Vin, thanks for jumping in real quick. We're going to get absolutely fucking torched by the Jags next week, okay? We're going to get absolutely torched. This team already has a chip on their shoulder with us to begin with. They just got embarrassed by the Niners. Their season's still alive, clearly. I think anyone who can get the Titans or anyone who can get Jacksonville -6 should not waste any time and jump on that ticket as fast as they can. So that'll be one step closer to a better draft pick. That'll be one step closer to I'll be honest, I don't think Vrabel getting fired during this year is off the table now. I mean, the wheels are really off now.
Oh my
They're
God.
really off. Our quarterback that we finally been waiting a lifetime for is getting absolutely torched. The blatant disregard for correct calls as far as time management, when to go for it. Just nothing's going right. And at some point, it's almost getting comical that this guy still hasn't been fired. It really is. I mean, anyone else, and this would have been over like week 4 or 5. Really, think about it. They already canned what's his name from the 5th coach they fired, the Panthers.
Yeah.
McDaniels is gone. This guy still has his job because he won Coach of the Year 2 years ago. Because everything he's done since then has been an absolute joke. So it's really sad. But at the end of the day, and the funny thing is, the last thing I'll say, because obviously I'll let you say a few more things before we wrap up. I want to like Vrabel. I mean, he's a badass freaking dude. He's he epitomizes what a football player is. He's a big dude. He, in the huddle or doing practice with the guys. But he's just a numbskull. There's no way around it. He's stubborn. And you can't win with him. You just can't win with that mentality, especially with this team that we're supposed to be building now from the ground up. It's just not going to work. So
it's scary time. It's scary times in Nashville right now, and like I said, change is good sometimes, but change also scares the hell out of me because I don't want to go back to those 2014 years, especially with a quarterback that
we're there already, though, Jarett. We're already there.
3-13 in the last 16. So I agree with you on that. But like I said, we need offensive-minded coaches now with young quarterback. Tim Kelly and that old style stuff and Miek Vrabel sitting on leads and not scoring those points and winning 17-10 games. It's not sexy anymore. It was good in the 2000 era. We want to see football. We want to see, the throwing the ball. I don't want to see it running 25, 30 times a game anymore. Clearly, Derrick Henry, and anytime Derrick Henry gets the ball, I know when it's happening. Obviously, the defense does too. I mean, we just load up like a goal line formation right at the 40-yard line. How about be creative? There's no creativity anymore. It's just it's sad how far this team. Yeah, for him to touch the ball, he's very elusive. But it's sad how
you got to beg for Tajay to get the fucking ball.
It's just sad how bad this team has gone down so fast.
He never gets any rushes, by the way. He gets like 3 rushes a game. Every time he gets the ball, it's got to be on a screen. That's the only way we get him involved. A guy who's actually shifty. So when you have the box stack, there's a chance he can maybe slip out of something. We never rush him ever.
He had 5 rushes for 18 yards, averaged 3.6. Averaged 3.6, and his long was a 15-yarder. Derrick Henry was 11 of 24 and averaging 2.2 yards. So,
yeah, it's just a joke. It is what it is, guys. There's nothing more to say. We just got to hope that Vrabel's gone at some point this season. If he gets clean this season, then it'll give us some juice heading into the offseason. But if we have to hold our breath for another spring and summer about who's going to be the coach of this team when this guy's just, pissing in the wind, then, it's just going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a nightmare. But Yeah, let's take another question or two, and then I gotta wrap up because I gotta head out.
Something just popped up on the iPad over here. Titans fall to 0-6 in their last 6 road games as well. So obviously that's a clear damper to us, where we can't win on the road. So are we home next week against Jacksonville, or we're in Jacksonville?
Nope, we're in
Oh, boy.
Jacksonville.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
no, it's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be a
Oh,
disaster. Trevor, we just got picked apart by Baker fucking Mayfield. You think Trevor Lawrence isn't gonna have? I mean, he already has our number. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really bad, and I think it might actually that might be the final nail in the coffin. Getting embarrassed for what the 16th out of 18th game in Jacksonville. You know, when Jacksonville has their franchise guy and we can't even keep our franchise guy upright for more than 0.8 of a second, that might do it. So if that does it, then it'll be a glorious day for us because we'll be one step closer to the real rebuild. But for now, as long as Vrabel's the guy in charge, we're wasting our time. That's it. Nothing's going to turn around. If it wasn't going to turn around in the last 6-7 months, nothing's going to be different now. Like. What next year he's going to bring in new guys for offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator when he's had 6 other chances to bring good staff members in and everything's going to change. Come on.
People are agreeing with you if we fall to the Jaguars next week, that's his last game. Also, again, somebody threw a comment what Vrabel said at the podium because we didn't get a chance to look at it yet because we're on here. He obviously said again we got to be better, and it starts at the head coach. So obviously that's him too. So,
he said we got to be better, and it starts with the head coach. He said that at the podium.
I mean, you have 10 days, a mini bye, and
yeah. You got to coach better.
Hard to watch the remaining 8 games. I understand. I understand. I mean, we all do it.
This is the last thing I'll say. We literally just came out of a Thursday night game in which they were down by 4. Whatever they were down by. It might have been. I don't remember what they were down by. 4. Okay. And it was like a 3rd and 8, and they do a draw play, concede the drive, kick the field goal, move on. We just came out of a game when that egregious decision was made. And what does he do this game? Another 4th and 2, down 4. We have our fucking kicker kick a 51-yarder when everyone said he was missing on pregame, missing everything short. And then the second half, we're down 14 with 12 minutes left, and we kick a field goal to still be having to eat the ball 2 more times. Come on. I don't even get any excitement at it being right about this because it's so fucking cut and dry that it's like it can't even be an "I told you so" situation because it's been this way for 2 years now. So that's it. Anything you want to add, Jarett? Because I got to head to work. So.
Nothing, man. I'm just reading all these comments. Everyone's seem to agree. We moved on from Tannehill. They want to move on from Vrabel. That's what everybody's been saying on both Twitter and on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I mean,
listen, guys,
the Jags are going to destroy us. It's bad all the way around right now. We are in the dark days. 3-13 the last week. We haven't sniffed a win in a while. To win like we did last week, we always screw it up. So I mean, I don't know. With the bright spot, going back to the first question we had with what was it? What's his name again? The Titanic, whatever. It starts. The bright spot is Will Levis right now. Yeah, Tank Sinatra. We got to surround Will Levis with talent. We got to protect him. So that is the only bright spot I'm taking away from this for the rest of the year. That's it.
That's it. And listen, guys, last thing I'll say before we go, and I believe me when I tell you, I know for a fact that Amy Adams has a Twitter account. It's a burner, but I know for a fact she has it. Be loud and clamor and clamor and clamor all week for this guy to be gone. If nothing else, make sure she knows that none of us are going to stand for this bullshit anymore. And maybe it'll help. Even if it brings our percentage up 1% of him being off this fucking team, it's worth it. Because we are in the depths of hell right now as a fan, as a team. And it begins with him. Unfortunately, I don't want it to be this way, but the cards are all laid out now, and you just got to look at them and understand it, and then that'll be it. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do as far as doing some pregame for this Jaguar debacle that's coming up next week. But again, guys, appreciate everyone jumping in today. I'm sure we had a nice hefty crowd in there.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate everyone, on this unfortunate day here, another game with 6 points. It's just, I can't believe it. Yeah, we got to regroup and figure out what the plan is. That's it. That's the bottom line. I don't think winning is in the cards, but the future can be in the cards, and that's going to start with a new head coach, in my opinion. So we'll see how things transpire. Amy Adams never fails to, surprise us. I'll say that. So hopefully that'll come again in the near future, and we'll have something to get excited about. Because right now we have nothing to be excited about besides the guy who wears 8, and he might be getting killed in the next couple of weeks. So that's it. All right. So, guys, thanks as always for jumping in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the show with your friends, and make sure to check us out. We'll be back in a few days for another episode and more of the best content we can provide. So, everybody enjoy the rest of our weekend. Jarett, don't hit the bottle too hard tonight. And that's all.
I hit it fairly too hard last night. I'm done for a while.
All right. That's good to know. Everyone have a great rest of your weekend. Sammy, send me out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.